What's going on, y'all? James SP. And it is 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, that's right. Uh-oh. Hold on, let me make this quick adjustment. Yeah, it is 5:30 in the morning. Having my coffee, doing a little thinking, planning for the day. And then I started to think about a topic that I had been thinking about for a while now. And this topic is called church hurt. That's right, church hurt. And the reason why I'm bringing up this topic is because lately I've been seeing a lot of exposing of various pastors in different churches all over. I'm not, and let's just be clear. I am not pointing the finger at one specific church, person, pastor, or anything like that. All right. But what I am doing is actually opening up a conversation about some of the things that has been going on in the church, and we're seeing it exposed all throughout social media. People are talking. That's the truth. People are talking, and they're speaking their truth. The things that they've experienced coming up in the church, the things that they've seen. And in many cases, things weren't right. You know? And it's time that we start making these things right. That's the truth, y'all. Like, let's keep this 100. When you're a leader, you're a pastor. Yeah, it is a lot of pressure. I get that 100%. Okay. You don't always get things right. You don't always do things right. Right. You're human just like us. Right. You're flawed. You've got flaws just like we've got flaws. So what that means is, regardless of whether you're called by God, all right, that's your claim. Okay, we got that. But that does not make you a perfect individual. That does not make you one who can now, you don't get a pass. If anything, you're probably judged more, because you have to walk in a certain way where you treat the people right. And there's a lot of bullshit going on. I'm just going to, and listen, I'm not a pastor. I don't know the church, or anything like that. I'm not leading a bunch of folks. So y'all can save me with all of that. But there's a lot of bullshit going on. All right. And those who used to attend your churches are starting to speak up. And now's not the time to hide, y'all. Get the shit right. And so I don't know. Hey, maybe I am talking to the pastors. Maybe, if y'all feel triggered, then I'm talking to you, damn it. That's it. Ain't no, we can't keep blaming the devil for this. There's just some things that's just not right. There's no pass. Just because you are called according to your claim does not give you a pass to do whatever you want, say what you want, move how you want. And it's just supposed to be okay. That shit ain't right. It's not. Now let's just keep that a buck, man. Some of the stuff that I'm thinking about while I'm sipping on my coffee, I've had conversations with people. I mean, listen, I'm not, and this is not about like he say, she say type stuff. I mean, I've seen some things. I've witnessed some things too. I grew up in the church. I didn't agree with everything, you know, but you go along with it. I don't know, man. You know, it's a weird, it's almost like a spell, so to speak. You know, especially when you're young, you're watching these things go on. And what am I talking about? I'm not talking about like big type scandals and stuff like that. It's not what I'm talking about. Well, I mean, in some cases there are. In some cases there are scandals going on. You know, judge accordingly. You know your church, you know you, and your congregation knows you. That's the thing, man. Like when your people knows you and people get to talk, man, clear that shit up. And getting it right with God only is a scapegoat, man. Come on, man. If you a pastor and you've affected your people in a negative way and they've told you about this, don't hide, don't run, talk about it. Even a simple apology, you know, this stuff, I'm looking at the stuff that's going on over there in New Birth. It's wild shit, man. It's wild. That's what we've come to, huh? As a church, that's what it is. My man, for one, what's his name? Jamal. This guy. Definitely show business. Definitely show business. Yeah, you quote some scriptures. You can do that. That's good. But bruh, something ain't right. You know what it is. And real talk, I believe the men know what it is. Because when you see the videos of my man talking, this is his name Jamal, we see a lot of the women. I don't see the brothers though, which lets me know the brothers are not in agreement with that. See, when I was younger, I was afraid to say these things, to call it out, even though I knew, like, man, what am I looking at? You know what I mean? Like, when you see something that's not fully aligned with what you believe God to be, or, to be attached with, you know what I mean? Like, just the alignment of it, and the energy of it. Like, man, something's off, but you can't, and then sometimes you might see a little something, you start questioning it, but you, as a young kid, you kind of, it's this thing that you take on, right? Like, if I say something wrong or negative or whatever, God will punch me, or something negative will happen. That's the type of fear that gets pushed on you in some of these churches. How dare you call a person out as a young kid or whatever? You don't do that. But after a while, when you start peeping the patterns of the bullshit going on in the church, where people are supposed to be getting healed, people are supposed to be able to go and get at least a good word, something, feel better, leave and come out different, not show business. Not show business. Something shifted. That's really where I'm going with this. Something shifted. The church is not the church anymore. It's not what it used to be. And then I'm not saying that we're not supposed to evolve, but damn, not not like this. It's wild. It's wild, the things that the church allows in it. And then the level of politics now, especially in a black church. You guys allow the Democratic Party into your church. Y'all seen it. That means they're in your pockets. That's what it means. We're not stupid. They're in your pockets. And you sit there and you just let it go on. For what? Money? Fame? What is it? But it ain't God. It ain't God. And you know, and then y'all attack these other pastors that speak out on it. But you know, it's the youth. It's the youth that is calling y'all out. Because y'all, the youth don't care. They're not unattached. You see what I'm saying? They can care less. Because right now they're watching the show business. So they treat you accordingly. Did y'all see what happened to Jamal when he I forgot where he was at. But he was out in a hood somewhere. And thought he could walk the streets and get the same form of respect that he got in the church. And he was he was met with some opposition. The brother told him to go on and get on out of here and don't ever come back. And if they ever catch him out there, ever again, it's a wrap. He got that message real clear. It's on video. You can go to YouTube, look it up. The streets ain't playing games with the church. Y'all are. When I say y'all, you know who you are. And so, church hurt, man. Some of these people are hurt. I've heard some stories from some friends that I've gone to church with coming up. You know, and it's not just my church, it's other churches as well. And, you know, I think ultimately, what am I saying? Y'all get this shit right, man. If you're not in the business of truly helping the people, get on out. Go do something else. But don't trick the people. Don't damage your people. Find another way to make money. If you're going to do this, man, you're going to be a pastor and you're going to run a church, man, be genuine with this shit. And be willing to hear your people. I've seen it, man. You can't talk to your pastor. You can't tell him something. Especially when you're offending your people. You're not that big, man. You're not that much of a high position where you can't sit down and listen. Get that shit out of your heads. And damn, like, carry yourself accordingly. These kids are watching y'all, man. You know, I take that type of leadership real seriously. That's why I won't play with it. You ain't getting me to be a pastor. What kind of church would I have? But when we have like 1,000 cameras, not on some Epstein shit, but like creative, just mad creative music would be dope. See where my mind goes? Some of y'all, and don't go there. There's no genuine thing in it. It's just strictly, how can I make some money? Power. Meanwhile, some of your people are hurt. And you know what? I'm opening this platform for that, for some of these people that want to come and talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it. Why not? Right? Because, James, you can sit here and talk all of this, but if you don't never share the stories, then how will other people ever know, right? Excuse me. So that's what I'm going to do. If you want to talk about it, not in a way to bash your church or the pastor. That's not what that's not this platform. Let's just have a conversation. And some of you leaders, some of you pastors, you can come on too. Talk about it from your perspective. I'd love to hear it. But the conversation needs to be had, y'all. It needs to be had. I know of a situation where I got to change the story up a little bit. The story is the same. I got to change up the characters so that, because again, I told y'all, I am not in the business of bashing a particular person, organization or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to give y'all the concept of it. But the member says to the leader, listen, because now the member is older now, okay? And says to the leader, listen, some of that shit you was doing, now I'm giving you my version, okay? If there was no cursing in it. It was none of that, but I got to tell the story my way or else it doesn't come out right. So the member goes to the leader and says, listen, when we was younger, you was on some, you was doing, you treated me a certain way and I wasn't feeling that. You did some things that just wasn't right. You operated in a way that just rubbed a lot of us wrong, as in our youth. And that affected a lot of us. And the leader didn't really take accountability. No accountability. Instead, it was like, well, it seemed like the leader, the member wanted pretty much an apology, is what the member wanted. And the leader was not trying to give it. Not one bit. I don't even think according to the story given, the leader wasn't trying to have a conversation like that. According to the leader, the member was probably just nuts, going through some things and making it up. Now, if I'm looking at this story, now of course it's just one side of the story that I got. I got to make sure that I'm putting that out there because I need to be clear and fair. And, me looking at it from the outside, right? It's like, wow, that's that person's truth. That's that person's experience. Both sides, really. A conversation should be had because we're not that perfect that we can't make mistakes. We're not that flawless that we can't do things wrong. We all do things a lot incorrectly. It's called immature. You're immature. And as you mature, you do things a little bit better. And so you own your shit. And so for me, a leader who can't own it openly, I got to question you. You know? Because for me, the way that I see it is a leader wants its members to be transparent, but the members also want the leaders to be transparent. It goes both ways. It's not one-sided. And if you think it's one-sided or it should be one-sided, then that's where you're wrong. Now, I ain't write the Bible. I ain't write no rules to the church or anything like that. But some of the stuff, you don't need any of that. It's just common damn sense, man. You know, and look, man, I want my lady to myself. Now, what I mean is, you know, there's certain outfits and gowns and stuff like that, dresses, that, you know, I might buy because I want you to wear that for me. And then there's certain outfits and stuff that, you know, it still looks classy and sexy, but it doesn't have to reveal so much when we're going out. But damn, when you're a pastor, though, it's a little different, man. It hits different. I can do what you can't, but you can't do what I do, pastors. I'm not leading the congregation. How your lady wearing a dress that looks like it's see-through? Come on, man. You already know what's going on. For one, you're telling these men not to fornicate that are unmarried. But then but then but then you got a model right there in front of them that damn near is simulating like she's almost naked. How you think that's going to play out, fam? Because technically you're giving the green light to lust after your lady, bruh. And if you're giving that green light, then that lets us know that green light was on a long time ago, bruh. You're reading between the lines. Some shit going on. And you bleeding because we seeing it. And so back to the topic, church hurt. See, I can't stop getting off these leaders, man. I can't. I'm trying to go back to the church hurt. But nah, so you leaders, some of your people are hurting. And when they come to y'all to talk, give the ear. Don't get so hardy that you can't listen. You're not God. You're not the judge. And you damn sure didn't set the rules. You just became a person in that position. That's the difference. Being called does not make you different in terms of us being equal here on earth. You just have a different role. But you're not exempt from being judged. It kind of reminds me of that story. I think it's Samuel. I believe it's Samuel. He was raising a young boy. I can't remember the characters' names, but the young boy, he goes off to sleep, and as he's sleeping, he hears a voice that calls his name. I think it's Samuel. And he calls his name, and Samuel wakes up, but he thinks the voice that he's hearing is the man that's his what do you call that? I almost said caregiver, not caregiver, his guardian, whoever's watching him. So he runs to the man And he goes, you call me? He said, nah, I didn't call you. Go back to sleep. Goes back to sleep. This happens like 3 times, right? And then on the last time, the guardian realizes, you know what? That's God calling him, or an angel. So he tells Samuel, next time you hear the voice, say, I hear you, speak, or something like that. And so that's what he did. And apparently the voice of God or the angel had a message, and the message was about that guardian, because the guardian was allowing certain things to go on within, I believe, the family or maybe the church or whatever he had going on, some organization and whatever he had going on at the time. But whatever was going on, and I believe it was within the sons or something, but he was not correcting the problem. And it had been well overdue that he needed to address it, and he did not. And I don't know if it was ego, if it was pride, I have no idea. But the message to the young kid, Samuel, was judgment is come. In other words, time's up, fam. You did not take action. You've allowed this mess to go on for too long, and judgment had come. And so God had said it was time was up. I'm paraphrasing it, you feel? And so the kid wakes up, and the guardian walks over to him and says, yo, so how did it go? Did you hear the voice this time? And the kid said, yeah. And he said, was there a message? And the kid said, yeah. And the guardian looks at him, and he knew. You know how sometimes, like when you know the jig is up, right? You ever been in a situation when you just, that inner feeling, that inner knowing? And so he knew the jig was up. And so he said, he looks at the kid and he goes, look, I know that whatever the message is, it's true. So don't spare a word. Tell me exactly what was said to you. It's okay. And the kid told him, yo, your time is up. Jig is up. You were supposed to have done X, Y, and Z, and you didn't. You'd been given X amount of warnings, and you still ignored. So now, as a leader of X whatever, you're done. And that was it, And that kind of feels like where we are now, the times that we're in now. Y'all pastors, man, y'all churches that are doing wrong or not operating correctly. All right, we'll even say that, not operating correctly, not doing right by your people, by the finances, whatever it is, get that shit right before it's too late. Clearly, we're looking and we can see it. There's judgment coming to the church. And it's not the body. I believe it's the leaders running it. From the mega churches down to the small. Nobody's exempt. Y'all chose to get into this business. So with that said, yeah, it's very different. We're not talking about content today. We're not talking about marketing. We're not doing any of that. We are talking about church hurt, something that you probably wouldn't expect to hear from me, James SP, but yeah. Multi-layered, y'all. I am multi-layered. Yes, I grew up in the church, but I was more spiritual before the church. I thought about it. I've been thinking about that for quite some time now, realizing how, and this is probably, this comes, I'm sure this is from my Haitian roots, that they were just inner knowings of things that I never could explain. You just knew certain spiritual things. And so for me as a little kid, before coming to the church or getting introduced to the church, and, as a Haitian, their main religion is Catholic. So I grew up as a Catholic, actually, but I always knew source. That once I got into church, I learned that people called it God. I never said God. I just It was just an inner knowing, And so I've always known that there were things that, like, I remember when I wanted to become or get into the film industry and I wanted to learn how to edit. I had learned certain things in college, but again, technology was growing so fast and I didn't have the money to further the education to get what I needed to get. And so here I am. I want to learn how to edit, and I didn't know how to edit. And there was this thing that I did, not ever knowing this was actually like people teach this stuff, right? So what I would do is, let's say I'm editing. At this point, I have a computer and I'm trying to figure out Final Cut, like iMovie and Final Cut and stuff like that. And I didn't. It was actually the like Final Cut, the advanced version, not what we have now on the Apple that comes standard or used to come standard, whatever. But yeah, so anyway, I'm trying to learn this thing and I could not figure out how to do certain things. And I'd be up late night trying to figure it out. And so before I would fall asleep, I'd be laying down in the bed and I'd think about it like, why can't I figure this thing out? And I would play it over in my head and say what I'm trying to do. This is what I want to do. This what keeps happening every time I do it. What am I doing wrong? How do I fix this problem? And I'd fall asleep. And don't you know, in the middle of my sleep, I would actually get the solution. I would see it play out. Like I would literally see the screen, the mouse moving, clicking on the certain buttons, certain parts of the screen to make it do exactly what I wanted it to do. And I would wake up, right? And run downstairs into the basement. That's where I had set up my little studio. I would run downstairs to the basement, turn on the computer, and do exactly what I saw in my dream. Like I was able to remember it. And boom, it worked. Y'all, I can't tell y'all how many times I would do this to learn how to edit. And that's how I became good at it. It really was. And I remember, like, I'll tell y'all this one more story. I remember this one time, a friend of mine in the film industry filmed his own movie and he hit a roadblock. They were editing and could not figure out a particular problem. And a friend of mine called me and she goes, James, I've got this project. We're stuck. This keeps happening. Tia's her name. Tia hits me up. She goes, got this problem. Can you help us out? Yeah, no problem. Send it over. And when she sends it, it was one of those problems that I had hit and took to my sleep and got the answers. You feel me? Now here it is. Oh, and I did solve the problem, by the way. I solved it exactly the way I saw it in my sleep. And my dream was exactly what it was. And it's boom, problem solved. Later on now I'm learning that, metaphysicists, they teach this stuff. They talk about this stuff. It's a thing with the subconscious mind that you can actually communicate. This is like when you take this to sleep, you're taking it, you're speaking to your subconscious mind who goes then and solves the problems and brings it back. It's wild stuff, right? You would never think these things are a thing, but it's actually a thing. Yes. Then later on, right, I get into the church, right? I eventually no longer dealing with the Catholic Church. I'm now going to like a Baptist church, a regular black church. Now, I did attend as a little kid Haitian churches too. Now, that was more like a Baptist church as well. That's the wildest part about my experience. Now that I'm thinking about it, because my parents were Catholic, but then I'd be with my family on the Rosier side, where we would go to Haitian churches, and that was like the Baptist side. So I was always getting both angles, you know what I mean? But then later on, you realize, I'm like, wow, they call this prayer. But they're just doing it, kneeling down and sitting there, closing eyes and talking it out. I take it to sleep and get the answer. you know? And so here I am, like, you know, I'm trying to adjust to all of this stuff, which then leads me to start questioning what's being taught in the church. You know? Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. We can go deep. I'm telling you. I just choose to share the content creation side of things. You know what I mean? But yeah. And so now when you look at it, especially when you talk to the young folks, they're, you know, prayer, they're talking about manifestation. You see? Things are changing. People are starting to wake up to some truths. You know? Not everything is what do you call it? Witchcraft. Not everything is witchcraft. Not everything. Christians, you just don't understand some things about who we are, how the conscious mind works, this universe, the earth that we live in, planet. So y'all have made everything so spiritual when there is a science to it. There is. And you need to embrace it and start having conversations so that you don't look so stupid. There are other beings out here. You can't keep acting like there aren't. There are other things out here that exist that go against the Bible. So now you begin to question the Bible. We got to have these conversations. Yes, aliens exist. That questions actually breaks down your whole belief system about Christianity, if that's the case. Are we going to have these conversations, or are we too prideful to? Anyway, I know I'm triggering some people. I know it. I knew it before I even did it. It's all right, though. I ran out of coffee. So it is time for me to go. Listen, I love y'all. Real talk. I do this because it's fun for me. Even when it's a serious topic. You know? Because I love what I do. I love speaking. I love creating. I love music and many more things as well. But something like spirituality and church hurt, people hurting, bullshit going on, but faking like the truth. Come on, man. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the conversation. And if you're triggered, well, ask yourself why. Not me. Y'all be easy. Take care. And remember, create always. And the reason why I say that before I go is this. If you just continually exercise your imagination, you'll be good, because you'll forever create and never feel stagnated. You know what I mean? Like you're just stuck. And to be stuck in life is, to me, the worst place to be in. So with that said, y'all be easy. Make sure you wipe your lens before you hit that play or record button. Yeah, play button too. Yeah, that's right. Peace.